I felt like I had to be giving a lot of content to give value. I was really stuck on that hamster wheel, delivering something new every week. Our members were feeling a bit burnt out by that constant need to cycle through all that content. I had to step away from the done way of doing things. Think about it. When I was a new parent, how much time did I have up my sleeve? I didn't want to be sitting and watching hour-long masterclasses. You just have to get it going. There's really nothing to lose and everything to gain at the end of the day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Searchie Spotlight. I am so excited to be talking to Casey Patch today. Casey, how's your morning going?
Really good, thank you. I'm so excited to be here this morning as well.
I'm excited that we could find a time to chat as well. I know that you have a really special story to tell in terms of who you are and the market you serve. So I thought we could jump in with getting you to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
So I'm Casey Patch from Little Lifelong Learners, and I help parents to inject more play into their days at home with their children. So I was a former primary school teacher, and when I left the classroom to start my own family, I sort of stumbled my way into this niche, and it has been so much fun being able to serve other parents that are hanging out at home with their kids and looking to fill in the day together with them and create some pretty special memories while they're at it. We have a lot of fun. My husband retired from his 9 to 5 to join me in the business as well. So it's been a really beautiful way, not only to have more time together in our family, but also to help other families to do the same sort of thing, to just really spend that quality time with their children, no matter how much time they have up their sleeve.
That's amazing. And I love that you kind of touched on your roots as a teacher as well, because I think that's something that your teaching days and your current entrepreneurial days have in common, is the fact that you cater to potentially one of the busiest demographics out there. Families with young kids, especially kids in general, they have not that much time in the day, and you can definitely see where we see that need to prioritize play, given how burnt out and overwhelmed some families may be. So I wanted to ask you about, what is your strategy? And I know that you can, you spoke about your own family as well. So just wondering, what's your secret sauce when it comes to dealing with a very, very busy demographic?
I think the biggest thing for parents is that we all feel stretched thin. Like, no matter what, we never feel like we're on top of our to-do list. I didn't want to make parents feel like play was this extra thing they had to tick off their list. When we've been thinking about the deliverables and how we're going to support our members, I had to sort of step away from the done way of doing things and really think about, okay, when I was a new parent, what was my day like? How much time did I have up my sleeve? I didn't want to be sitting and watching hour-long masterclasses, for example. So I have to try really hard to rein it in, keep the masterclasses really short and brief, under 20 minutes, so that parents can say, okay, I've got 20 minutes while the kids are playing happily. I can quickly watch this video. And being able to have all our videos captioned with Searchie as well has been really helpful, because a lot of parents are feeding their babies at nighttime or laying with their children for hours on end, it seems, at nighttime, waiting for their kids to fall asleep. So being able to turn the audio off and just watch with the subtitles has been a game changer for our community as well. And so really thinking about that time poorness of parents and how we can cater to that element when we're creating our deliverables, to make sure that they are really easy to use, really fast to use. They can use them at any time of the day around their kids.
Amazing. And I want to touch on something that you mentioned in that answer, because you fulfilled quite a lot of deliverables, especially in the market and in the products that you deliver, both in the digital format and in the physical as well. So in terms of, keeping on top of that to-do list, how do you stay on top of and manage your content delivery schedule? And I'm speaking, I think, on behalf of a lot of content creators who often feel overwhelmed by how much content they feel like they need to continue creating in order to continue giving their audience value. So what have you found, has worked for you and your business?
I think it's definitely something I struggled with for a long time, especially when I started my membership. I felt like I had to be giving a lot of content to give value. And so I was really stuck on that hamster wheel of delivering something new every week. Over time, I noticed that our members were probably feeling a bit burnt out by that constant need to cycle through all that content all the time. And we were noticing a lot in our exit survey that people were saying, I just don't have time to stay on top of everything. We had to really think, okay, what are the things that are really going to help them move forward, and how are we going to support them to take action and use those materials that we're giving them? And one way that we helped them to do that was turning our masterclass also into a challenge, so that once they had watched the masterclass, they could take action and go into the running to win a prize as well. So I had to really think about how we could make it easy and fast for them. But then on my side of things, I also needed to think about, okay, how can I create content quickly? What content do I already have that I can recycle and maybe present in a different way for different kinds of learners? Because some people love a masterclass, they love a workshop where they can sit down and watch something. Other parents love a challenge where they've got a bingo board and they can just choose something that'll take 2 minutes, tick it off, and that's their action item done. And so looking at the different ways that people learn and being able to recreate that content we've already got, but in a new way, so that it's not only faster for me to put together, but it's hitting those different members at different areas in the way that they learn best and the way that they take action best as well. And then, really reflecting on what is actually being used in the membership and what we could perhaps replace it with something else. Like recently, we actually got rid of our Q&A sessions and started doing a really casual coffee chat where people could just rock up. They didn't have to pre-submit any questions. We don't record them. They're just really casual ways for the members to come and connect, not with me as the expert, but with one another. And it was a really nice way to facilitate more of that community aspect and give them what they needed where they're at right now, which is that overwhelmed with everything that's going on in the world, with interest rate rising in here in Australia. Like, there's so much on their plate. So we had to think, how can we help them to connect and realize that we all have similar struggles and that they can really lean on one another in those really tricky times?
That's an incredible answer. And I feel like there's so much there that I want to unpack specifically. But I think a central theme that you mentioned with regards to your content delivery is repurposing content. And I especially love what you said in terms of taking something that may feel a little bit more knowledge content based and transforming it and giving it a challenge and making it actionable. What we're seeing time and time again is that it really, the value of the content depends on how much you can take away from it and implement from it. So that's amazing that, you've identified a model that really works for you and your members to make sure that on one hand, they're able to take those actionable steps based on, what works for them, and then also to provide that community aspect. I believe this is your membership that you're talking about that you host on Searchie, right?
Right, yeah.
So why did you choose Searchie to host your membership site?
I was originally on WordPress, and I went with that because I was so scared of investing initially any amount of money. I didn't know whether the membership would be well received. I didn't know if we'd sign anyone up. So I thought, how am I going to do this for free to test the waters? And anyone watching that's thinking of doing that, I would say just jump in and spend the money first, because it is not fun having to move platforms further down the track. But I'd started on WordPress. It was clunky, it was messy, it was really hard to organize the content. And I'm such a fan of Stu and doing the membership experience. I think it was hosted on Searchie around the same time that I'd started my membership. And it was such a wonderful user experience. And so I'd gotten to use it on that side of the fence. And I thought, I think this is going to be a really good fit for my membership as well. And so we took the plunge, we set it all up, we got a couple of our members to test it for us and give us feedback to see what they thought, and they all loved it. So then we moved everyone else over and they all loved it as well. It was like the best decision moving over to Searchie. It's so easy to use. Like I feel like a lot of the other platforms that are out there are clunky and you have to have so much tech knowledge to get things going. But Searchie was just so easy and fast. And even now, if I post a live workshop, I'll put the replay into a Searchie hub and it will take me like 30 minutes to get a hub set up for them and put all the PDFs in there, put a workshop replay in there, have an upsell to the membership there. Like it's so easy to just get that going without having to set up this whole website or other area to host those sorts of resources in.
I'm so happy to hear that, it has been easy to use. I think something that we feel very passionate about is a lot of content creators are strapped. They don't have the time, they don't have the tech knowledge. And frankly, that shouldn't hold them back from creating something that looks and feels beautiful. One of the things I love most about your Searchie hubs is the fact that they really embody play. And I know that your business is all about prioritizing play, and membership sites don't have to be boring. They don't have to be, grayscale. So the fact that I think you use a lot of really joyful colors to literally color the experience that you're looking to give your members, I think really, actions them towards that play as well. So wanted to wrap up with this interview with a question about play, because it's a common theme that we see in your business. And I think that when it comes to tech, a lot of people are generally not comfortable enough to experiment and play around with things. So wanted to hear just a little bit about your experience and how, embarking on this journey, teaching other people how to prioritize play, as opposed to, as you said in your first answer, play feeling like it's something extra. How have you had the opportunity to, put more play into your life with your business and your business model and the content that you deliver to your audience?
I think being able to experiment is the beauty of having your own business. Like a lot of the times you feel like you have to replicate what this person does to be successful. But I've been in business for over 10 years now in this business. And even before then, I think I had my first business when I was 19 years old. So I've always been an entrepreneur. And so I've always been playing with things, I would say, and always had websites and fiddling with tech, and being able to experiment is the beauty of it. I mean, otherwise you would just go and work for someone else and have them tell you what to do. And so I think that is the wonderful thing about being a business owner. You can be creative in a way that feels good to you, and you're not stuck with doing things a certain way. You can experiment and find things that bring you joy, and being able to tweak what you're doing constantly to make sure that your business still feels fun and enjoyable and that it doesn't feel like a drag. I think that's the wonderful thing about memberships, especially, is that it's not just one way of doing things. You can tweak things and add new things all the time while listening to what your members are saying or aren't saying and are just showing you with their actions, perhaps. And you can tweak things to make it work better and to be enjoyable for you as well.
A smart person once said, you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it going. And I think that we see a lot of that in that permission to play. So I did want to thank you so much, Casey, for all the wonderful insights that you would share, that you've shared so far. I think to wrap us up, do you have any tips or tricks for anyone who, maybe a little bit scared to experiment or play? Is there anything that you would tell them?
I think you just have to get it going, like Stu says, because at the end of the day, no decision that you make is permanent. Like, you can try something, if it doesn't work, it's fine, you can just try something else. I think a lot of the time we get stuck thinking, if I make this decision and it doesn't work out, well, it's done. But we are in charge of our businesses, so we can tweak them at any stage if things aren't working out. So there's really nothing to lose and everything to gain at the end of the day.
I love that. Casey, thank you again so much. I think that so much of your message resonates with a lot of our community members who are also, appealing to very busy demographics. So I can't wait to share your story with the community. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.